Right now, Nintendo is facing some major problems. Pokemon Legends Z-A has awful user scores, and people are roasting it on social media for the terrible dialogue, the abysmal graphics, and the fact that it's just not the best game possible. You have multiple games being delayed for the Switch 2, which has infuriated people, and really, they are just facing a massive wave of backlash right now. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, over the past couple of years, Nintendo has been a company that has shifted their priorities. They don't really care about delivering the best experiences to people anymore, which is really sad because I have grown up with Nintendo. I've loved Nintendo, and I always thought between the major three that are around right now, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, they always had the highest level of consistent quality. I mean, there are some games that are on the Switch too, right, that are really good, like Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza. They brought games like Kirby and Tears of the Kingdom, but I think that we have seen a drastic decline just over the past couple of releases, and I really hope that it doesn't stay that way. But now we are hearing multiple games are being delayed. Nintendo is facing backlash over Pokemon, and really it's just not looking good. So let's start off with this. The Switch 2 versions of Elden Ring and Borderlands 4 have been delayed due to performance issues. Now, they have released several games on the Switch 2, like Cyberpunk 2077, for example, that run like trash, that look like trash, that perform like trash, even though they said they were going to be fantastic. And this is what happens when you sell 5+ year old hardware at a premium price. You are selling people a product saying it's going to be good, and then it's not, and then you face backlash for it. And they did delay the Elden Ring Tarnished Edition and Borderlands 4, which I guess is a good sign that they're trying to release it in a better state, but at the same time, they are looking like they are panicking right now because they delayed these only a couple of weeks before they were supposed to release. So they clearly knew that they weren't in a launchable state, but they waited until like the very last minute to delay them. Now, with Elden Ring, the Tarnished Edition, they're trying to get you to purchase it because it's got exclusive content. And I think that they gave Nintendo exclusive content because, of course, Dusk Bloods is going to be a Switch 2 exclusive, which I think is a wild move, and I really hope that that comes out and it runs well, because if you have Elden Ring where it's one player fighting one boss and it can't run well, never mind 4 players fighting multiple bosses at the same time. And Borderlands 4, I don't even think is that good of a game, but I do think that you are going to see performance problems with that, even after the delay, and a lot of people are saying, yeah, this is not a good freaking look. Here is the official post that they made for the Borderlands 4 Switch 2 delay, and a lot of people were saying things like, I guess Nintendo aren't premium gamers, or anyone else for that matter, but the console ports were running perfectly. Your boss said so. There's no way this game was even remotely playable on Switch with how awful it runs everywhere else. Should have delayed it as a whole. I think that they should have just straight up canceled it. If something is not going to run on a system, you shouldn't try to release it on that system, because if it releases in a buggy and broken state, you're just scamming people at that point. And yeah, I mean, Randy Pitchford has said multiple times that the ports are perfect and the performance is good, even though we see performance problems on literally every system it is released on so far, which definitely doesn't sit well with me, but this is why you don't trust someone like Randy Pitchford. Main game, while great, also should have been delayed. I do not think it is acceptable for a game to release and it be broken. I think that that is absolutely terrible, and we're also seeing that happening with Pokemon. Now, of course, Pokemon isn't just Nintendo. It is Nintendo, Game Freak, and Creatures Inc., but this reflects mostly on Nintendo. Most people know Game Freak and Nintendo, and if you look at the scores for Legend Z-A, they're terrible. I mean, the user score sitting at a 4.6, which is crazy to think about, because It really shouldn't take that much to make a good Pokemon game. You could have taken the general idea of being in this city and then you have to go through the wild zones and the battle zones, but not have them just be like massive blocks of like red and green, these areas. You should have to explore the city and find the wild zones. And like you start off from, point A at the hotel and then you have to branch out and oh, you might accidentally come across Wild Zone 7. So then you have to backtrack and then you have to find Wild Zone 3 or 4. Like they could have easily added that to the game, but the problem is they're constantly holding your hand and treating you like you're a 5-year-old. And I get that there are going to be a lot of kids playing Pokemon, but at the same time, the older games didn't hold your hand. I mean, they made this game super easy and it's infuriating. And then you have the technical problems where there's constant pop-in, it looks bad. It just is so sad to see this happen, and clearly I'm not alone in that thought. And of course, we knew that this was going to sell pretty fucking well. We knew that it was going to do pretty good because it's Pokemon. And even though it sold millions of copies so far, it's actually down compared to the others. So Pokemon Legends Arceus sold 6.5 million copies worldwide in its first week. Pokemon Sword and Shield sold more than 6 million copies worldwide during their launch weekend. So I would assume that's like a period of 3 to 4 days. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet sold over 10 million copies in its first 3 days. And then we get to Pokemon Legends Z-A, and it sold 5.8 million globally in its first week for comparison. And again, these are still good numbers. These are still big numbers. But if you compare them to these other titles, it doesn't look as positive. Now, are they going to ever admit that, maybe they could have done better? Absolutely not. They're going to defend themselves tooth and nail. But if you look at the social media sentiment on this game, it's not positive. Most people are wrecking it. Most people are roasting it. And sure, you can love Pokemon Legends Z-A. You could love Pokemon. I'm not sitting here telling you you shouldn't like it. But in my opinion, people deserve a higher level of quality when you're telling us we need to buy $500 consoles and $70 games, and you guys want to go up to $80 games on the regular. Like, this is just not acceptable quality for the price that you're offering and the product you're offering. Tectone had posted, Nintendo of current age really isn't what it used to be. Mediocre product after mediocre product, overstepping their boundaries on what they can prevent other companies from doing, similar to a bully. And this was in response to a post about how Nintendo argues mods don't count as proper games as the Pal World lawsuit continues. We know that they've been patenting game mechanics, which could change the scale and the scope of this industry. I mean, they have summoning mechanics now, so I don't know how other companies are going to get around that or what like the requirements are for in a game. But either way, it really does not look good. And right now they're facing tons of backlash regarding Pokemon, regarding the Switch 2 in general. They're having to delay several ports, and really it's just not looking good for Nintendo. So I'm sure I'll be talking about them more in the future. They're going through quite a disaster right now, and it's really sad to see because I've loved Nintendo for a very long time, but man, are they just not delivering the consistent quality that they used to, and they're really ticking off their fans and their customers that they might lose at this point in the process. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If, of course, you found this video important and informative, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. And if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.